So I know that you guys come to YouTube to watch inspiring stories of great business successes, but what if that's not the story that I have to share with you guys today? Hey everybody, this is Melanie and welcome back to my channel where I take you guys along with me as I thrift and flea market to find great vintage items to resell for my business. In this video today, I want to tell you about a business failure. Just plain and simple, that's what it was. And I think it's important to share business failures because it's super easy to kind of watch people online, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media platform, and assume that everything is always going well, because that's mostly what we tend to share are the things that go well and the things that work. But in my experience, that's not normal life. I often have things that fail and I often have things that don't work. And it could be really tempting in your own business of your antique booth or your Etsy shop or your reselling to think if you try something and it fails, then your entire business just needs to be thrown to the scrap heap. So I want to share with you today about a recent failure of mine to try and just normalize it with you guys. So in the last video that I posted, I shared about how I moved malls. In the process of moving malls, I had to downsize and I only had room in my new space for the line of paint that I sell, which is Fusion Mineral Paint. So I had switched to really trying to sell most of my vintage items online, which is something that I've been doing for a while anyway, but I'm trying to scale that, grow that, just move through this inventory a little bit quicker. So one of the things that I've been working on really hard is trying to kind of break into the Instagram vintage community. And if you're not over on Instagram, there is a huge vintage decor collectible antique buying and selling community on Instagram. It is very, very vibrant. I decided since I'm really trying to push into this online world, I'm going to try and dial up that Instagram vintage shopping presence. These vintage sellers are kind of collaborating in these communities and they're doing live sales together. They're doing events where all at the same time, everyone posts items to their feed and you can shop together, or they're doing website drops together, which is what I decided to participate in. So what a website drop is you pick a time and you load all your new stuff into your online store and you have it come available at this one specific time. So this vintage selling community, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's a little tough to get into. And I don't mean this in like a mean way, but it feels a little cliquey. That can be kind of tough for me sometimes. It can be easy to feel like I'm kind of on the outside. And I've been kind of waiting for like someone to invite me to be a part of something. And you know, I just decided instead of waiting to be invited, I was just gonna jump out myself and I was gonna initiate with something and try to plan something myself. There's a lesson in that. If you want to do something in your business, instead of just waiting around for someone to kind of initiate with you, you be the initiator. Just jump out there and do it. So there was one lovely girl that I had gotten to know. She had commented on some of my posts. I had commented back on some of hers. Her name was Whitney. So I just slid into her DMs one day and said, hey, my name's Melanie, yada, yada, yada. I have been selling online for a long time, but I'm kind of new to this Instagram vintage selling world. I would love to do some sort of collaboration with you. And she was so gracious. She was so wonderful and responded and said, I would love to do something with you. Now, Whitney is super organized, much more organized than I am. She's got hers calendared out when she's doing all of her live sales, when she's adding new things to her website. And so she said, hey, I've got this website drop that I've planned on coming up. You want to join me? And I'm like, great, awesome, let's do it together. So you may remember this vignette that I put together a couple videos ago. I decided that this was gonna be the vignette that I was gonna promote for this website drop collaboration. So I worked super hard, took all these pictures, I got all this stuff loaded in my online store. And then starting about a week before the sale, Whitney and I together just start hammering on Instagram to promote this thing. So she's posting and I'm posting. And I'm sharing her posts and stories and she's sharing my posts and stories. And we're just posting and posting and posting back and forth. Several days, all the way up until the date of the sale. I'm also sending out to my email list like, hey, this is happening. I'm posting on Facebook. I put a couple posts here on the YouTube community. We were really hammering all this great new vintage stuff is coming. The idea was just to really market it, to build it up. That's what you have to do in the online world. It's not necessarily like you just put it out there and people are going to find it. You've got to kind of build that excitement, build that anticipation. And so together we were doing that. And I was helping introduce her to my audience, and she was introducing me to her audience. It's the power of the collaboration. The night of the website drop hits, and I'm so excited. So I had done all this work. I had 20 new items. By 2 or 3 hours into the event, I had sold one item. One measly little item. I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, I was really disappointed. Friday morning, I was still frustrated about it. It just was disappointing. I don't really know any other way to say it. I haven't talked to Whitney. I haven't asked her about how her website drop went. I didn't want to pry too much, and I didn't want to kind of start the comparison game. So not sure how it went for her, but that event for me was just not the success that I wanted it to be. Sometimes you do some things, you put some work in, and it doesn't really work out how you wanted it to work out. Here's kind of what I've done to regroup from that. The first thing is I've tried to look at some of the positives at maybe what it did do for me. In that chunk of time, I had a huge jump in website traffic. So that tells me that this method of promoting and collaborating, it worked to actually get people to my site. You have to drive traffic online. You've got to get people to where you're selling your stuff, whether it's Etsy or especially if it's your own online shop. You have to get people there. So that was a bonus. Another thing that worked, it helped me just have a relationship with another online seller. I enjoyed getting to know her. And so I do think there'll be opportunities down the road where we can continue to do things together. So that's a positive takeaway from it. And then I'm here now just kind of trying to figure out, even though I had this big spike in traffic, why did those sales not convert? That's the question that I need to answer. It could have been price. It could have been that my items just weren't what people were looking for. It could have been something outside of my control, like it was the second week of school and people just spent a bunch of money on school supplies. That's what I need to kind of dig into. Instead of just going, well, that doesn't work, I'm never going to do that again. I need to try and figure out why it didn't work. When I am faced with a failure in my business, after I have a little pity party time, that's how I try to look at it. What worked, what didn't work, and what can I do better next time? And I'll tell you guys, whenever you try something new with your business, it generally doesn't go super awesome the first time you do it anyway. When I first started doing my live sales on Facebook, the first 3 or 4 that I did, it was just me by myself. Maybe my mom was watching, and I didn't sell really anything. You kind of have to train your customers that, hey, this is what we're doing now. Honestly, I shouldn't have been too surprised that it wasn't as gangbusters as I was hoping it was going to be. Before I just kick it to the curb as a terrible idea, I need to do it 2 or 3 more times. And after 2 or 3 more times, and tweaking maybe my items, my prices, maybe even the time that the items go live on the website. If it doesn't work after 2 or 3 more times, then maybe it's time to drop that idea then. But the first time, don't kick it to the curb yet. It can take a while for a new idea, for a new way of doing business to kind of get a foothold with your customers. So let's end this video with a little less doom and gloom, because I don't want to leave you guys just super discouraged. I have had some things that have been selling online, whether that's in my Etsy shop, my own online store, or on social media sales that I have been trying to participate in, which is basically just posting stuff on my social medias and, you know, asking for people to comment to claim. All right, so let's go through some things that have sold for me online recently. The first is this depression glass blue relish dish. Sold it on Etsy for $24. I also sold this awesome pottery duck. You may remember him from a recent thrift haul video. I sold him on Etsy for $128. I also sold this red macaw vintage music box. Sold that for $26. That sold in my online store. And then I've sold 3 quilts recently in my online store. I sold this white and green one for $235. This orange one for $199. And that was after posting a picture of it on my Facebook page. And then I had this cute little purple baby quilt. I sold that for $30, and I sold that on an Instagram sale. I participate in these Flat Lay Friday sales when I can, and that sold recently there. I sold this red-handled vintage mixer for $21 on Etsy. Sold this citrus streamer in my online shop for $12. So I found a set of vintage tart shell molds that were kind of new in their old bag, Sold those on Etsy for $22. Had this beautiful blue crackle glass pitcher. Sold that on an Instagram Flat Lay Friday sale for $30. Sold this awesome set of turquoise napkin rings to a regular customer that usually sees my items on Facebook. Sold those for $24. Sold this cute little horse print that I found for $14 on an Instagram sale. That's not everything, but that's a little selection for you guys to see. So it's not all doom and gloom. Things are still moving. My goal was to just move a lot at one time. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep working at it. I hope that this video encouraged somebody out there today. If you've had a failure, I think they're just a normal part of doing business. Not everything always works the way that you want it to work. Be encouraged if you feel like something has failed recently. It doesn't mean that it will never work for you. So I enjoyed being here with you guys today. Everyone who's a subscriber, thank you guys for coming back. If you're not a subscriber, then I hope you join our community. Appreciate all the support that you offer here to my channel. I hope that I've been able to offer something back to you guys today. See you again soon.